It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 27th of April 2016 and we are on episode 77. So Hernan is still out and about, so we got the four of us here today, so we'll go down the line like we usually do and say hello. So we'll start with you, Chris. What's going on?
Nothing much. Doing excellent here. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. I'm actually getting sunshine now, which is nice. We almost had snow again, it's hard to believe it's almost May. But,
yeah, right.
Speaking of weather, Marco, how's it going?
Hey man, what's up? It's about to rain in Costa Rica, man. Unbelievable.
Oh.
But it's nice and warm still. About 80 degrees. So I can stand the rain when it's 80.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Bradley, how about you? How are things going in Virginia?
Good, man. Just glad to be here. I've got something to do with my daughter tonight. It's called Desserts with Dads at her school.
That sounds awesome.
So I'm going to go pick her up and take her to get a cupcake at her school with all her little friends, and it's going to be fun. So
oh, that's cool, man.
Looking forward to rolling through this Hump Day Hangout so that I can go do that with her.
And that cupcakes just sound good, so I'm on board with that. We just got one quick announcement. Real quick, I wanted to remind everybody that the webinar, the first one for IFTTT 2.0 for all the members, is going to be tomorrow at 3:30. 3:30 EST. So if you are part of that, then you've gotten an email. There's also a link in the private Facebook group. If you're on the border, you haven't joined yet, by all means join us. I'll drop the link in here, and if you join today, you'll still be able to make the webinar. And on our
end, this webinar is it's not just an update webinar, it's also the monetization webinar where we're going to talk about various ways to monetize networks.
All right, I think that's it. Sure, let's get started.
Right. Let's do it. Let me grab the screen. That was the only announcement we have? It seems like we're awfully light today. Well, that's cool. Let's roll. Let's get it done. Mark O'Connell says, hey guys, got one for you. If I'm creating a national website and won't be having a physical location for all locations, does that mean I can't use schema markup? I heard you say it won't validate if it doesn't have a physical address. Is there a way to still use it, or is there no way to still use it for the sameAs attribute or something like that, for example, or am I totally screwed? Thanks. Mark, I don't know whether it will validate or not. Just play with it. Like take your structured data code, or whether you're going to use microdata or JSON LD markup, depends, and just generate the code that you want to use, and then go add it to the site, and then just check it with the structured data testing tool. See if it'll validate. If it comes back and it validates, then use it. It certainly won't hurt. If it comes back invalidated, well, you can still leave it on your site if you want. Don't know that it will have much of a benefit if it's invalid code, but you can just play with it. I know that I was actually just working on a site earlier today, and I was playing with some different formats to get some structured data on a site that wasn't WordPress, so I was kind of playing around trying to get it to work and had to keep testing in the structured data testing tool, but it eventually validated. So once I found the right configuration. I am not real good at that kind of code, other than that's all I do is just trial and error until I get it to validate the way that I want it to, and then it works. So, Marco, do you got something to say about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is that he's trying to validate. If it's a name, address, and phone number, no, it probably won't validate for something in another state and I don't know, another county or anything like that. But sameAs, you should have no problem validating sameAs as long as you use the proper structure.
Yeah, the proper markup. Yeah.
Correct.
So that's all I would do is just you can try to work it in and just see if it comes back with errors within your your div tags or whatever because it says that it's missing elements. Then that's what I'm talking about. Is that you just have to keep playing with it until you get it to work to where it comes back without any error messages, and then yeah, you can leave it. So. Okay, Randy M says it seems that RYS Academy is best used if you want to rank some Google Docs in the SERPs. However, if your goal is to rank some other type of site, it wouldn't be so effective that other forms of SEO would be called for. Comments? Well, Randy, that's first of all, that's quite an assumption to make if you haven't actually been through the training. because if you had gone through the training, you'd know that we actually use Google Drive files as well to rank websites and Google Maps listings. And I've done it with both. Excuse me for a second. I got a phone call coming in apparently. Let me pause this for a minute.
Sounds
Sorry.
like a wolf. I hear
That
like
guy's I've been getting hammered by sales calls again for a stupid citation business directory that I set up, business directory listing. So yeah. Anyways, Randy, again, in the local case study that I did for RYS Academy, I ranked a maps listing using nothing other than RYS methods, and I often use an example of my SEO for Virginia site that I've ranked that was nothing but RYS methods. So that was kind of an assumption that you're making that is incorrect to begin with. So I think, Marco, you said you were going to comment on that as well?
No. What I want is that seems like a statement to me, rather than something that's founded on testing. Because everything that we do is founded on tests, right? Whatever we do, when we made RYS Academy public and we sold it, it's because it had solid backup for everything that we had done, which included ranking websites, ranking profiles. I mean, we could literally do anything and everything we wanted with this. In addition to that, we show people inside RYS how to map their own domain to. I don't want to give away the farm, but we show you how to exactly how to rank your website if that's what you're looking to do. Money site, affiliate site, whatever it is that you want to do, we show you exactly how to do it. All you have to do is take a look at the advanced webinars. So he's welcome to post in RYS Academy. If he is a member of RYS Academy, he should be in the Facebook group, and I will be happy to discuss this with him in depth inside the Facebook group. What's inside RYS Academy stays inside RYS Academy. And all I'm saying is, I mean, you can take it and rank anything you want with it, period.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's actually it's incredibly effective, and it seems like it's only becoming even more effective, which is crazy, to be honest with you. So I'm actually working on a case study for mastermind members. It's just going to be a short one, but that I talked about on our last mastermind webinar, that I was going to possibly set up a local case study, another local case study. I shared the industry and everything that I was going to be doing it for using nothing but Google properties, and I actually started working on that yesterday, so probably within a couple weeks I'll have some examples. So that's another reason to be a member of the mastermind, because you'll get to see that live case study using nothing but Google sites or Google properties. Dean says, hey guys, would you say IFTTT networks in general increase the main website's trust flow? Well, they can, Dean. They can, but you certainly have to do the correct things to make that happen. Just having an IFTTT network in itself is not going to increase trust flow, because that's what would be cool. But looking at the Semantic Mastery website, which uses a lot of networks, and the trust flow at root is 7 and the citation 25. If I have a 2012 Penguin hit site, that has a higher trust than that, which is worth asking why, and I think a lot of people would benefit from the info. All right, well, I can answer briefly that we don't really work too much on monitoring and managing the trust flow on our main website for Semantic Mastery, because that's not how we don't drive the majority of the traffic to our website through search. So there's a difference, and there's also a lot of people linked to us without us having any control over that. So first of all, that's a battle that happens that we would have to constantly stay on top of. And if we were trying to drive traffic through SEO mainly, then that would be different. But most of the traffic we generate is through social media and YouTube and that kind of thing. So that's one thing. We're not monitoring it. Plus the other thing is again, we haven't had we don't have control over other people linking to us. Now, when I'm working on a client site or a lead gen site or an affiliate site or something like that, typically I'm going to be manipulating search, or trying to manipulate the trust flow metrics in order to help it to rank better, so that I have to manipulate search results through my through manipulating trust flow, if that makes sense, a topical trust flow. So that's typically when I will be working on that kind of stuff. Now, that said, I think Marco, you said you were going to have a comment on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, when we actually did the trust flow test for RYS Academy, we got one of our subdomains up to 40+ trust flow. I can't remember the topical trust flow, but it was in the 30s. And then we never did anything after that because, as you said, it's not something that we concentrate on since most of our traffic is not organic traffic. Well, it is organic in that comes from
it's not organic search
all
traffic.
kinds of sources. Yeah, it's not organic search through Google. And so the things that we have concentrated on as far as ranking, we have it developed enough trust, not maybe trust flow, which is a majestic metric that we can't control and we have no idea how it's working, but we've developed enough trust rank and topical trust to organically rank after the things that we go after. Right? The thing to remember here is that on a lot of the things that we do, a lot of the affiliate and the money sites that we have and everything else, we manipulate trust flow and topical trust flow, but we wouldn't reveal it in public. We wouldn't reveal what we do. I mean, we reserve that for our mastermind and our masterclass, especially our case studies, and that's because there are many people who will listen in, and then they'll go in and they'll take a look and try to see how to take you down, how to affect your ranking so that they can improve theirs. They will try to negatively affect your SEO. And so that's, I mean, you found it. Every time you make a URL public, it gets de-indexed, right?
Yeah.
On your test. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to reveal exactly what we're working on. What we will tell you is that if you apply the techniques that we show you through IFTTT version 2.0 in the masterclass and in the mastermind, in RYS Academy and everything else that we do, Dean, you're going to rank. It might not show on your trust flow, but I wouldn't worry about that because I would worry more about topical trust flow. And I think people are worried too much about the negative factors in the algorithm, like the Google Dance, Penguin, Panda, How to Influence, Pigeon, Hummingbird, Rank Brain, and when it all comes down to it, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with whether you're building quality links from trusted sources, because when you do that, then you're affecting the co-citation, co-occurrence, the seasonal, the freshness, the trust rank, the topical trust, quality signals, distance graph, and the ranking. This all ends up in a ranking score, which is how Google is determining where you're going to rank. Everything that you do the right way or the wrong way is going to influence your ranking score. What's your ranking score? We don't know, and we have no way of knowing because Google isn't making that public. But we do know that among the top 3 things that affect search engine rankings is still links. But now it's links from trusted sources and how far you are from trusted sources. And what we've been teaching people through IFTTT V1 and now V2.0 is exactly how to go in. I call it the Google tickle. And tickle Google the right way so that you benefit from it, and how to stay away from doing things that are going to affect you negatively.
That's right. Okay, Ryan says, hey Bradley, is it okay to use a Google Voice number for a Google My Business listing? This is for real businesses, services, some surrounding areas that would like a few maps listings set up. Thanks. As far as I know, you can, Ryan. I haven't had any issues with it. I've had a Google Voice number for my, my local consulting agency now for, well, since 2012, so 4 years, and it's still valid, and I still use it all the time, so I can't imagine it being an issue. I've never used a Google My Business phone number for a Google Voice number for a Google My Business listing, only because I was always concerned that if Google decided that they were going to take that away, or close for whatever reason, they stopped Google Voice service, or they terminated that particular account, or whatever, then I would be screwed, and I'd have to go update all of my citations, right? So all the citations out on the web, the phone number would have to be changed, which is a nightmare in itself. So I always just rent a number from a virtual phone number rental place. I use Callfire mainly for that kind of stuff, but I've used other services as well: Twilio, Vumber, Phone.com, several other services, but mostly Callfire.com. But as far as I know, yeah, you should be able to use a Google Voice number for that. Just keep that in mind, that if Google ever decides for whatever reason that they're going to shut that number down or that service down, you're going to be left having to update a bunch of citations. Just keep that in mind. John says, during the IFTTT training, VB recommends powering up your branded network, which was confusing because I thought building links, aka serpspace, was only for tier 2 properties. I'm not sure what gave you that impression, John, because it's not. I don't believe it says that anywhere on the sales page. It's the link building service inside of serpspace is for IFTTT networks or PBNs. That's all. We just will not accept. We're not going to build links direct to your money site. It's got to be built to tier 1 links and beyond.
Yeah, I think that's where the confusion came in. That we will go to T1 branded because our guy rocks in doing this. He has a lot of experience. He's been doing it for a while and he's really effective. But if you're doing it yourself and you don't know what you're doing, then stay away from T1. That's where you jump out to T2 if you're testing. But no, by all means, if you're experienced with link building and using all the link building tools, then go hit T1. They can stand the abuse.
Yep. He says, so my question is, other than posting at a higher frequency from the money blog to feed the branded network, is there anything else besides adding tiers and hitting those with signals that you suggest doing in order to safely power up the basic branded network? Yeah, again, if you're skilled with the tool or you have access to link networks, that kind of thing, you can use those to power up your tier 1 network, or you can hire us to do it. You can use SAP links, for example, or if you have a private blog network, you can use those. I always recommend not using PBN sites unless they're themed really well and they're very tightly, very closely related to what they're going to be linking to. So in other words, the topic is very closely related to the sites that they're going to be linking to. And most PBNs aren't built correctly according to those standards now, right? Because they're not themed well enough. So, but a lot of people still have PBNs. I know I do. I've got hundreds of sites that are still up and that aren't being utilized like they were 3-4 years ago because they're not themed so well. But am I going to get rid of all of them? No, I am actually getting rid of quite a few of them as I just let them expire as the domain goes up for registration again. But a lot of them I still have that I'm using is tier 2 links. In other words, I use those PBNs to build links to tier 1 properties or citations or anything else that's a tier 1 link. So because there's some of them still have some SEO value even though they're not themed properly, right? So they're not topically relevant per se. The whole domain isn't themed well, so it doesn't have one central topic that governs the entire site, right? And so those links still have some value, although I wouldn't link directly to a money site. So anything that you have access to like that, John, would be helpful. So spam tools, private blog network, SAP links,
RYS Academy,
yeah, anything that you have, or you can hire us to do it, and that's what our link building service is for. All right. Greg says, I'm wondering what changes prompted flavors.me to not be included in IFTTT V2. Thanks. Greg, that would be a great question for Hernan. Unfortunately, he's not here. We have an update webinar tomorrow, though, so maybe if I get a chance to chat with him prior to tomorrow, I'll have an answer for that on tomorrow's update webinar, because I'm curious as well. Flavors.me is a good site, and I'm wondering why he did not include that when he updated that training. But there's got to be a reason for it. And if not, we'll add it back in. Maybe it got missed. I don't know. I'll have to confirm with Hernan. But if not, we'll add it back into the training because that's in part what the updates are for. Ryan says, let's say I had a really powerful PBN or a powerful site I possibly declared as a sameAs using schema. Would you recommend syndicating blog content to this property even though it is not branded the same as your main money site? I would provide proper attribution. However, I'm wondering if there would be some downside to doing this, kind of like using Blogger, for example, but non-branded, but a non-branded powerful T1 site. Thanks. I wouldn't do that with sameAs, Ryan, because the sameAs attribute is supposed to be pointing. It's like a canonical. It's pointing to other properties that are identifying you as you, or the brand as the brand. So this sounds like you're trying to spam sameAs for some sort of SEO benefit. Well, in my opinion, it wouldn't benefit you at all if you're pointing, you're canonicalizing or giving credit. You're saying using the sameAs attribute to point to something that's non-branded. Then to me that seems like it's just clearly structured data spam. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. I mean, I haven't tested that. I don't know. Maybe personally, I wouldn't do it because I would be afraid or concerned of it be considered structured data spam. I mean, just common sense would tell you that it is anyways, right? And so even if there was some minor SEO benefit from it, short term, chances are it would become an issue very quickly, probably sooner than later, because it's not something that actually, like, sameAs attribute is supposed to be pointing to extensions of your brand. Say, hey, this is us over here as well. It's just an it's a way to validate identity.
If it's that powerful, then he can just drop an IFTTT syndication network around it, get some content curation going, and some links going to his tier 1.
Yep.
And I think that he would get even more benefit doing it that way than just from adding a sameAs attribute.
Yep. Kevin says, hey guys, if I'm in the surgical niche and our IFTTT backlinks enough, are our IFTTT backlinks enough to rank, or would I need also normal health site, health PBN links going to the pages I want to rank as well? That's too difficult for us to answer, Kevin, without look. I mean, chances are, if you're in a competitive niche, I don't know that the surgical niche is. I guess in some terms would be, but if it is competitive, if it's a competitive niche, then you are likely going to need more than just your IFTTT network. There are several things that you can do for competitive niches that, in addition to your IFTTT networks, that will help. So one of those being increase your frequency of publishing. Make sure that you're writing or curating really good posts for your blog, because that's going to be powerful, and do it consistently. Like I said, increase your frequency of publishing. That's going to help. Powering up your IFTTT network is going to help. Your branded network is. And then, yeah, if you have a health access to a health PBN or health links, then you can point directly to your money pages. But if, again, just like I mentioned earlier, if you have a PBN that's not themed so well, then use that to boost your IFTTT network properties. Okay. So chances are you're gonna need more than that. Like, for example, I've been talking a lot about this lately. I've been using the blue chip backlinks in order to find topically relevant domains that I can purchase for just the cost of registration, and I can very quickly rebuild the old content on those domains using the archive.org downloader, which is right inside the blue chip backlinks dashboard. Upload it to the server that I've pointed the domain to, and I've rebuilt the old site, and all I got to do is go in and hack an HTML link back to my money site, and that's it. And so it's not like installing WordPress and having to create posts and all this other stuff. And that's what I've been doing to power up beyond just the IFTTT networks, because then at least whatever I'm pointing at, the domains are they're 100% relevant to what I need, and then they're rebuilt so that it's not like I'm using spammy content. If they were at some point real websites and they weren't just private blog network sites, then now I've got a link coming from a real site with real content pointing to my money site. And so it's not, obviously IFTTT networks is my foundation, but if there's something that needs some additional boost, there's multiple ways to get it. So, all right, one other quick question, if that's okay. When link building to an RSS feeds of ours, do we just hit them with GSA, or do they need to be cleaner links, say a layer of WebDozen and GSA? Yeah, I wouldn't be spamming your RSS feeds, because that puts direct links back to your money site. So just keep that in mind. I would use a layer if you're going to do that. Like, again, what I would recommend doing is something cleaner if you're going to do that. I typically don't build links to RSS feeds, but some people do, and I know Hernan, he's done some testing with that, and if he could comment on that if he were here, so maybe we'll bring that up again another week. Oh, Hernan is actually not adding flavors.me. Hey, check this out. At the moment of recording the videos, it was actually really funky, so I decided to add it later as an update with that. And about.me, 500 pics, and Behance 2 as a hub. Well, about.me is already on there, so Hernan must be watching. He just can't participate.
No, I'm talking to him right now on the side.
Okay. Yeah, about.me is already in the training. So if you want, maybe flavors.me, if it's back up, we can add the training within the next week or so. All right, next one. John says, have a client with multiple store locations and a headquarters office in a large metro using WP multisite with one domain plus city/store many sites inside folders, not subdomains. Okay. As with any multi-location client, the HQ office or brand doesn't want their office location listed because it creates NAP confusion with the stores, plus the HQ doesn't want local walk-in traffic like a store would. The Tier 1 branded headquarter network and root domain are currently the primary source of RSS IFTTT content. I'm just wondering what the cleanest approach is for adding tiers or networks for the cities where each store is located. Do you recommend building a Tier 1 branded network for each city location page site, or just run location-specific content for each city through the main? All right, this question comes up with slight subtle differences every single week, I swear. So maybe, Adam, if you could make a note, we'll try to maybe make a frequently asked question out of this, because I feel like we answer this question every week, and that's fine. It just comes up with slightly different. It's asked slightly differently every time, but it's pretty much the same answer. All right, so if you've got subdomain sites or subdirectory sites, really that makes no difference to the question. Those details really make no difference to the question that you're asking. The question is, do each one of your individual city sites, the individual sites for each city location or each store location, right? Should they each get their own network? Or should you just do more content through the one main blog that right now is populating the branded network with one branded network? Okay, we talked about this, I think, at length last week as well. If you have, what I suggest doing is trying to use just one branded network first, and use your main domain, your root domain, your main blog, if that happens to be on the root domain, as your content distribution engine, in which you can build links from that blog to all of your individual location sites. Okay, so each separate site that you have. But if you find that you're not getting the movement that you want, see, here's the thing, and I remember specifically talking about this last week. If you have 10 subdomains, or in your case subdirectories, again, that makes no difference to this method either way. Whether subdirectory subdomains is the same thing in my opinion, at least for this particular discussion. You can build links from your main blog to all those 10 different subdomain sites and see if it, some of them are going to have some probably substantial movement from just that alone. Some of them aren't. All right, so the ones that don't, they're going to require some additional work. So those are the ones that I would go out and put, let's say out of 10, four of them actually responded very well to the blog post that you were posting through your main blog on your root domain. But 6 of them, a couple of them had some slight movement but wasn't great, and a couple of them didn't really budge at all. Well, what I would do is prioritize which ones are the most important to you, and then start building individual IFTTT rings. They're branded rings with the modification that they're made location specific. In other words, you can share the same brand, but you need to add a local modifier, geographic modifier, to that particular brand name or whatever in order to make that network unique to that particular area, if that makes sense. So only add additional networks if needed to the sites that aren't responding as well or as quickly, maybe perhaps as you would like them to, and then start building networks around that. I always try to do the least amount of work possible to achieve the results that I want. And then I find out, like, if I try to do the least amount of work possible and I'm not getting the results that I want, then I'll start to add to it. That's what I say. So instead of going right off the bat and saying, okay, I'm going to build a new IFTTT network for every location site, don't do that. Start just posting to your main blog, monitor results. You're going to see some movement across some of the sites that's going to be more aggressive or faster than it is across other sites. The ones that are slower and you want to speed up, those are the ones that I would focus on adding location-specific rings to. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, Jay Allred. Hey, Jay, I'm going to +1 you just because you haven't commented here in a while. He says, I have a client that has asked me to provide monthly Google Analytics reports and suggestions for all of their customers. Have you used any third-party tools that allow you to create report templates and scheduled reports so that all I need to do is review the data and make suggestions? I don't do any of that as far as analytics. Like my level of reporting to my clients for analytics is just a matter of taking screenshots of their analytics Most of them, there's a few of my clients have access to the analytics, so they can actually log in. But the majority of them, they don't even ask for them. I just send them a Google Analytics screenshot every day, or excuse me, every month. But I know there are some of the one of the tools, the SEO suite tools by I can't remember the name of them now. They have Clint Butler, one of our members.
Power Suite.
Yeah, Power Suite. That's it. SEO Power Suite. I hear they've got great reporting options. I've heard some really good things about them. I think they're pretty expensive, but it's really good. Have you had any experience with that, Adam?
Yeah, but it's been like a year, so if Clint wants to say something, I'll let him speak to it because I know he uses it regularly.
Yeah.
G-Sheets. G-Sheets, you can get an add-on and hook it up to analytics, and you can run reports, and you can actually set it. You can schedule the reports. You can get any information that you want that's available in your analytics into your G-Sheets, and then you can go ahead and produce whatever report and data and suggestions you need to your clients.
And that's free, I bet.
Of course it is. It's Drive. Remember, RYS Academy, man.
Very cool. I'm going to have to look into that, actually, because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, too, if you want to home roll it, you could do something with Zapier, because they can work with Drive objects and then probably hook into analytics. But anyways, that's another option.
Yeah. But yeah, SEO Power Suite was the one that I was thinking of. I know that we've had that come up in the mastermind a couple times, and I've watched some of the discussions in the mastermind, and I think there's a general consensus that that's one of the better reporting suites, software suites. Ryan says, I've got a business ranking in maps for the city it's located in, okay, and it also shows up in map results for a neighboring city, just not in the top 3. Could building a few links to the site using keyword plus neighboring city as anchor text boost the map's position, or does anchor text only affect organic results? No, as far as I know, it will also affect maps, because I've been able to do that as well. That, and then also if you can add in, what I would do is on the money site, what I'm saying is I've done the same thing, Ryan, where I've built backlinks to the site, also to some of the citations with the other city name, the neighboring city, the adjacent city that I want to rank better for in maps. And I've seen results with that, but the other thing is I also make sure that I'm blogging from the main site. And including blog posts targeting that neighboring city, so that I'm getting content on the site that's and then linking to the like the home page from within the content body or whatever, so that I'm creating that relevancy between that other location and my main site through the content on the blog, which then gets syndicated to the IFTTT networks, right? So just keep that in mind. Those are two things you could do: build some keyword anchor text links to your site using the city, the geographic modifier as part of the anchor text. Yes, that will help, but also creating some relevant content relevant to that city, or that other location. And just doing that consistently. All it takes sometimes, guys, depending on how competitive it is just a few posts, and you'll start to see some significant different results, especially if you're already showing up in maps, maybe not in the top 3, but if you're already, given impressions in maps for that other city name, keyword plus city, then it means Google already detects some relevancy there anyways. So all you need to do is nudge it along a bit, and you can do that by you can do that with on page just by creating content optimized for that other location. All right, this is John. Can't remember his last name, but his name's John, Houston Junk Car Buyer. He says, all I have to say is thank you and success. I followed what you guys said, and I'm seeing a huge increase in traffic. Listen to these guys. They are awesome. That's sweet. I'm going to +1 that. Adam, 3 words, Dollar Shave Club. Where's the affiliate link, Wayne?
Yeah, no comment.
Where's all right, the meme, Wayne? I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, there's no meme for that. Let's see. Yeah, it must be his connection. Okay, Brian says 2 quick ones. What is best practice for ranking in 3 packs in cities surrounding my client's main city? Wow, we just answered that, Brian. So, yeah, just refer to the last question and answer. How do I get him to rank for more keywords in the 3-pack for his main city? Thanks. Again, more content on the site. Make that part of your Brian for getting the rank for more keywords. There's a few different strategies. I talked about that at length recently in one of our either masterclass or mastermind webinars. But there's a few things that you can do. Like I said, you could add, first and foremost is use your blog to add additional content that is targeting those other keywords that you want. That would be my first recommendation. That way you're adding the content. You can still link from within that content to the pages on your site that you're trying to rank, which will kind of reinforce that whole theme. All right. Then the other thing that you can do is you can create other backlinks, like we just talked about, targeting that new content that you're going to add. Right. So that's going to reinforce it. So there's your on-page and your off-page signals, and then there's some additional off-page signals that you can do, which I talk about with citations. So for every main money site, you're going to, especially when you're trying to rank in local, guys, you can determine what Google thinks are the most important citations, the most important directories to be listed on, the ones that they give the most weight to, by searching for 2 out of 3 data points within the NAP. So, for example, name, address, phone number. If you go search for the business's name plus the business's phone number, so business name plus phone number in the Google search bar, then it's going to return all the listings that Google and whatever's on page 1 are those directories. A lot of times you'll see Yelp, you'll see, depending on the industry, you'll see, like for example, for limo services, you'll see like Wedding Wire. For restaurants, you'll see TripAdvisor. There are certain directories that you'll always see on page 1 when you do a search like that, where you check 2 data points from the NAP. But what I look at is the top 2 pages. So whatever are in the top 20 results, and I just make a note of that. So I'll open up like 3 different tabs in a browser, and I'll do a search on my business plus phone number, then the competitors that I'm researching, which, whoever's in position number 1 in Maps and whoever's in position number 2 in Maps. I'll search on those, and if there's 3 people in Maps and I'm not in the 3-pack, then I'll search all 3, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do name plus business name plus phone number. So each tab I'll open up, and I'll look for each business, and then I'll make a note by just comparing the search results for each one of those businesses. I'll see several directories on page 1 and page 2 that are common across all of those different sites that I'm looking at, right? Across each competitor's search results, I'll see the same directories listed on page 1 and page 2. Then those are the ones that I know are the most powerful citations, according to Google, for that industry in that city. Because it's going to be different every time, guys. Even if you pick another industry in the same city, you're going to see a different set of results that are common across the top 3. And the same thing goes if you pick another at the same industry but a different city. You'll still see variations, but you'll end up seeing similarities across the top 3 always. You'll always be able to find some. Those are the most powerful ones. Well, within those citations, you're going to use your main keywords as part of the tags or in the description or whatever when you're building those citations to your money site. But for supporting keywords to get to rank for additional keywords in that 3-pack, then what you should do is for the lesser important citations, the ones that are not considered or given as much weight by Google, those are the ones that are back on page 3 and 4 and 5 when you search name plus phone number or name plus address or address plus phone number. Those are the ones that when you go in, optimize the descriptions in those, the business descriptions, to target those other supporting keywords instead of your main keywords. So that way you're still getting the directory listings, but you're targeting other keywords. So there's just a few different ways there that you can actually do that, Brian. And again, we covered that a while back. So actually, somewhat recently in Masterclass or Mastermind.
Since Adam posted it on there, RYS Academy. For Maps.
Yeah. Of course. All right. When is version of 2 of RYS Academy coming? Don't know, Ganty. Ganty, we already covered that. He says, as the Google Drive static website is going to be deprecated by August 2016, we'll be covering something else in the RYS 2 Academy when it comes. Yeah, it's the Amazon S3 hosting. And that's, I believe that's in the update section inside the training already.
Yeah, it's already in there. There are no plans for version 2 because RYS Academy is working even better today than it was when we started.
Yep. Jason Quinlan even says RYS is getting stronger. I agree. Thanks, Jason. That's what I've been noticing too. Hernan, I'm going to +1 him, even though he's out riding camels instead of hanging out with us. Yeah, let's see. Where else we at? Earl, did I shoot my client in the foot? I bought a Tier 1 network for blog posting for a local client without mentioning his existing Google Plus page. Now all the interlinked properties connected to the persona's Google Plus page and not my client's. I assume this will hurt or at least not help his chances to rank in the 3-pack. Should I go in and change all the interconnections to client's actual G Plus My Business page? Any other info need to be changed? Yeah, no, or absolutely. You know, if you had an existing Google Plus page, you can send that to us when you order, and you have to send us your page login details. We do not and will not accept your main Google account login details. If somebody sends that to us, we automatically reject the order. But we do accept Google Plus page logins, and we even provide you with a video on how to do that, how to create your page login that you can send to us, at which time we will connect that Google Plus page to the network. However, if the network is already completed, then I would suggest that you're just going to have to go in and do that yourself. But absolutely, you should. You should go in and edit each one of those. You want to swap out the Google Plus page that's connected to your network to the one that you want it to be, your Google, excuse me, your client's Google My Business page, so that whenever you post to your blog or YouTube videos, however you've got it set up, it's going to automatically post to the Google Plus My Business, the Google My Business page, the local page, because that activity plus the relevant content and the regular updates are going to give that local page an edge over the competitors, which helps it to rank in maps. And at the same time, for the rest of the properties in the network, you want to go in and swap out the link to the correct Google My Business page, wherever it's interlinked. Okay. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but you can get through that in about 20 to 30 minutes. If you have a clean browser and you got your network spreadsheet open, you can literally get through that in about 20 minutes. Okay. Google Voice will overload and you will not get all the calls. I tried before. That's good advice then, John, because I've never used it. I've always wanted to use a paid service that I had more control over. But I know that people have used it in the past, but that's a good thing. If you're getting that much call volume, then you can afford to pay for a phone number somewhere, right? So, does Submit RSS software? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. If you're talking about RSS Submit 5, yeah, they actually submit to directories and aggregators, and some of them have a bit of a manual aspect now. RSS Submit 5. Does, but what's good about that is they're a lot less spammed because there's a manual, aspect to actually submitting, so they're not spammed near as much, which means they're, better places to submit to. So I don't know about Submit RSS software, but the RSS Submit, because there's a lot of them out there with very similar names. The ones that we talk about in the training, those absolutely do submit to the directories, because you have to create accounts on a lot of them, but they've got an account creator built into the software now. Daniel says, what could be a reason that a Google account created with a multi-tier IFTTT account gets suspended? Could be a number of things, Daniel. They're not 100% foolproof. There are times that they do get terminated, unfortunately. A lot of the times you'll notice with the Google accounts, what's crazy is for some reason sometimes the accounts will go 404. They'll look like they're disappeared. But if you try to log in, it'll just ask you to re-verify the account. And once you re-verify the account, all your properties come back up. That's happened on many occasions. I'm not sure what triggers that, but for some reason you'll notice that sometimes your blogger account will be down or something, and you'll go look at the Google Plus or something, and it'll show a 404, nothing to see here message, and then you go try to log into that account, and it'll ask you to re-verify the account, which you might have to do, but then once you re-verify, all those properties come back up. So you might want to check that. But other than that, I mean, sometimes you just lose an account. That's all there is to it, Daniel. It happens. It sucks sometimes, but it happens. All right, we're going to answer just a couple more, and we're done, guys, which is good because we're almost at the top anyways. Do you recommend any WordPress themes which have built-in SEO silo capabilities? Yeah, the one Ultimate Silo. It's the one by SEO Ultimate. They have an SEO design framework. SEO design framework. That's the site that's got built-in silo capabilities. It's really cool, actually. It's a great flat platform. SEO design framework. Go check it out. The downloader link to rebuild sites, Brian, it's inside of Blue Chip Backlinks. So there's a site rebuilder button inside of Blue Chip Backlinks that will allow you to download the archive.org HTML pages. So I do all that from right within inside the dashboard. Okay, last one, free reporting for Google Drive. Oh, cool, Supermetrics for Google Docs. That's awesome. I use SEO Power Suite. I like it a lot, and so do the clients. Wait for a sale, and you can get it for crazy cheap. Use free option until that time. So there you go. Clint's, that was the SEO Power Suite was what I was talking about, and he just confirmed that. Okay. All right, that looks like it, guys. All right, well, everybody, thanks for being here. We will see you next week for Hump Day Hangouts, and we don't have anything else to talk about, like anything happening before that, do we, Adam? Looks like
he must
Adam,
be running in the woods.
he must have gone running in the woods again. You know what that means, right? Running.
Yeah. I just saw him eating an apple with oregano.
All right, cool. Well, as far as I know, we don't have any. We got the first IFTTT webinar tomorrow, guys. Don't forget the first update webinar plus monetization methods. That's at 3:30 p.m. So we'll see you guys then. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. Thanks, guys.